the next thing we need to do is we need to add the necessary permissions with this app, because the app will ultimately use the user's location and we have to request permissions for that from the user. So what we are going to do is we're going to add another package just to keep our code nice and neat. And we're going to call that package permissions. And inside the permissions package, we're going to make a new Java class. And I'm going to call it better permissions because Android uses permissions itself quite a bit. And this is just popping up for me to ask if I want to add this to Git. And the next thing we have to do before we even copy and paste over the permissions code we've been working with is we have to go into the manifest and we have to actually add the fact that we want permission. So we have to go say users permission, and we want find location, and the next one we want to go say is users permission, and we want course location. Right. Oh, wrong ending. Let me just fix that. Okay, so we have these in the manifest so that we can actually request them. And we can now go into that permissions class and we can use this permissions code that I have here, which you will recognize from previous classes. You could also use Dexter, which is the library, but I'm just used to this. I've used it quite a while. The red stuff, don't freak out, just start an alt and entering because it just wants you to import the libraries. So it will get a lot better. Let's just get those libraries in there. Okay, so basically what this code does is it checks if the version is smaller than or equals to marshmallow, and if the context is not null, and if the context is and if the permissions is not null, please go check. I think this should be bigger than actually, but we'll just take a look. We'll go check if we'll pass in a string array full of permissions, and we will check if the permissions is actually given against the package manager. And the package manager we'll look at it on the Android device and we've passed permissions, but the package manager actually accesses the phone and checks if the permissions have been granted on the actual device. So we can implement this little guy now. So we can go into main activity and we can go into our create method, which I just need to fix my brackets, otherwise it irritates me. And we can say if we do not have permission. So if we do not have, so if not, and you see this, it will come up. You see how many times Java uses permissions, and we have to choose our permissions. If better permissions dot has permissions, if it is not true, and now it's going to want that string array right there. You guys see that? So we just go and make a string array. So we say string permissions to request, and this is an array. So we say string array permissions to request equals, and we say manifest with a capital M, manifest dot permission dot access course location, comma. The one thing about the Dracula layout is that it really, really gets angry when something looks wrong. It just makes everything red. Dot permission dot access find location. I'm going to bring this down so that I'm not over the print view. Okay, so, and then we go pass in what it wants. It wants a context. So we say this, and it wants that string permissions. So we go say perms to request, and then it still wants one more thing. It wants a request code. So we're just going to go up here, and we're just going to go make a final static int permission request. This is probably spelled wrong, I'm sorry. And you can actually put any number here, so that's a bit messed up. But it wants the request code. So why is it unhappy? Let's go see what I have broken. It expects the permission. Oh, it should take a request code. Oh, no. What am I doing? Sorry. Doesn't want the request code here. No, take it away, bracket. Okay. So we can basically go say, if this application does not have the permissions, then please ask for it. So if it asks for, then we're going to say activity compats dot, and we can then request the permissions. And this is where we say, on these permissions, this is the permissions I would like to do, and there is my permission request code. There is the int request code. I'm not crazy. Okay, so let's see when we run, what will happen when we run this. So it should technically now request those permissions for us. You're going to miss my messy videos when you graduate. Let's go give this guy a minute to just run. And then after that, we are going to start building our location requests. And we should actually speak about this for a little bit and what we will use in there. We're going to be using the Fuse Location Provider client, which is the Fuse Location Provider API. And in there, we are going to go saying set our priority. So if you want a very high accuracy, you set high priority, high accuracy, and then we're going to go set the interval, like how often do we want us to look for to update the permission, and we're going to set that to 5 seconds. And then the fastest interval we are going to set to 3 seconds, but that child's memory, so we technically say check every 5. The fastest you can check is 3, and we're going to do the set. I wonder if they actually showed you, but we're going to do the set maximum displacement, which says that we would like to have the location within 10 meters of the user. So we'll come, get smallest displacement, but somewhere here is set displacement. So we'll do all of that as well, and we will get our location at the end of this app. So let's see if this guy is requesting permissions. It did just say everything worked fine. Okay, it's installing the app for a second. Let's see if it's requesting permissions from us. Launching activity. We wait. Right, we have success, and it should ask us for permissions right now. Oh, look, it's doing nothing. Wait. Why? Do you know why? Because this is deeply confused now. Let me show you why. Because there's Better Visual version 2 running here that uses the same permissions. But there we go. Allow Better Visual version 2 access to the device's location. So there it is requesting permissions. I panicked there for a moment. Everything is fine. It is requesting permissions. And we can allow these. If we click on allow, and what I just wanted to show you is there is our action bar, there's our menu, our toolbar, and there's where our tab layout is going to be. And how do you get into this phone settings? If we go into the settings of this phone, and if we, why does everything take so long? This is the point where I deserve a heavily souped up laptop. When we eventually get into the settings, we are going to go to apps, which I probably won't find and look like a moron because I want to do this fast now because this video is getting long. I really miss having you guys pointing it out to me. We're going to go to apps and notifications. Do I have to double click it? Yeah. Oh, look, the phone died. But basically, if we go into apps and notifications and we go into permissions there, oh, there we go. If we go into Better Weather version 2, showing this poor emulator, it's not having a great time. Well, that didn't work. But if we go into Better Weather version 2 and we go look at permissions, oh my word, I'm sorry, this is taking so long. That is the package manager that we are actually accessing, where we're coming to see if the permission is granted or not. Obviously, it's not as pretty as we see it in the UI here, but here we can see now the permission is granted. So every time we run this app, it won't pop up again. But if I slide it this way, the permission will not be granted, and the if statement will, the code will actually enter the if statement and ask for it. But if we run this app again now, and I'm going to ask you to trust me on good faith because I don't want to wait for this thing to build. But if we run the app again, it's not going to request permissions because it will go into the package manager and see that little green bar is at the right place. And okay, wait, that actually happened quite quick. It should not ask for permissions again because it should be happy that it is already allowed. So there we go. We will follow on more in the next video.